Okay, it's Wednesday the 2nd of October and we are in a little village called Arette in the foothills of the Pyrenees. It's been a week or so since the last one. Back on Wednesday the 25th of September, we eventually arrived in a little village called Dun. It took us a while to get there that day. It was a bit of a journey. How was that day?
I think we made an attempt at 3 years before Dune, which weren't quite suitable for various reasons.
Mostly me. And then we came across that one, didn't we? It was all right.
Yeah. The other ones we went to, one wasn't great, but the other two might have been okay, but we decided against it. And then we came to Dune, and it was fine.
It was okay, yeah. We didn't, by the time we got there, we didn't really go out or anything, did we? I mean, did we go out that night?
The wee walk round.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, I don't know if it was that night or the next
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
The wee walk around the village.
The ducks came to visit us in the morning. We had some ducks.
And more of these giant rats.
Which we think, we don't really know if
Which
they
aren't
are
really giant
that.
rats, but
Nah, we're
that's the
calling
way
them
we
that
describe them.
because they look like that.
I can't remember the name that we think they are. So we stayed there.
Just one night,
One
wasn't
night.
it? Moved on the next
It was a
day.
one night stop
Yep.
because there wasn't anything in the village.
No,
We couldn't
there
even
was
buy
nothing.
food. So then the next day we went to Laverdac.
Oh, yeah. It was a lovely air.
What was the air like? Describe the air to us.
Well, each van space was separated
There was
by
four.
wood.
There was four spaces.
Uh-huh. And at the back, it was like a dining area. I suppose you would call it a picnic table, but it was bigger than a picnic table, and it had an L shape to sitting
L-shaped
area,
bench. Yeah.
and a lovely big table. And it was ours. It was the person who was in that part of the air had it just to themselves, right at our lounge window at the back, and it was so nice. But as we were reversing in, it was just a narrow road, and across the road there was a long French house. What do you call them, Mark?
Longer.
Yeah. And it had a gate. There was no pavement or anything like that because they don't do pavements here. And there was on the gate there was, the words to beware of the dog kind of thing.
A tong shong she
Yes. But then one barked and then the next one barked, and they were big dogs, really big dogs. So anyway, we got in, we got set, we were all thrilled with this back bit. It was sitting outside. The weather was lovely. And then another dog, there was 3 huge dogs in it right across the road from Timo. And every time we came out the door, they would have a go at him, and they were really fierce looking animals. But we stayed there for 3 nights, maybe?
4 nights.
4 nights. We got to know the dog, not to know the dogs personally, because we just...
Well, they got to know us.
We knew they weren't barking at us this bad, and we knew that there were a couple in the house, and the woman would go out to work and the man would go out to work and stuff. So this particular day, the Sunday morning, they were left, and the girl in the house, the woman in the house, took one of the dogs for a walk, but she left the
they'd
2
been
other...
left, all 3 had been left on the Sunday morning,
Yeah.
and then she came back on the Sunday afternoon
And
and
2.
took one of them out for a walk.
But when they were left on the Sunday morning, all the time in France, the church bells ring. And for something on a Sunday, they do it differently. And the 3 dogs started
Howling and crying and
crying.
whimpering.
Oh, they were so stressed. It was
Such
a
a
shame. And then she came back about after lunch and took one of the dogs away for a walk. She was away all afternoon, and one of the dogs, probably the most fierce looking one.
The one that barks the most.
But we thought this one was the youngest, was really frantic, tried to get out, tried to dig its way out. So if it was going to get out, it was going to come running right across the road to us, which was a tiny wee road, as I say. So I ran into the van. I thought, I need to sit in the van, I'm getting stressed out, because its whole head was out through under the fence. And then the next thing, I think, you come in, Les, didn't you? And then Matt brought Timo in, and we were sitting watching it, and it was digging like mad. It was such a shame. I mean, our heart broke for that dog, wasn't it? I mean, we were really sad for them. It was a shame. We think they were loved, because as soon as she came back, she would take them into the actual house. It was a kind of garage that they were in, attached to the house. So I think they could get into the house, but when they went out, they locked them out the house. Would you think that would be it? You know, there was somewhere that they could
Yeah, I
close a
think
door and leave them just with the garage and the garden.
Yeah.
I think that was their. But
They
could,
must have closed off the access
Yeah.
to the house.
They did get into the house because when she was in herself, the 3 dogs were in because you could see them at the glass doors. So yeah,
When they
so
were trying to get out, one was digging, the other was poking its head
yeah,
through.
and they were almost through. I mean, they were almost through the
Yeah.
hedge. It was really quite scary because I think they would probably have got killed. It was just a ran wild. It was a shame. We felt sorry for them anyway, but I don't know if they'd got out, if we would have felt sorry with just for hiding from them. So we had to leave there. It was quite sad leaving it, but we couldn't go on any longer. We couldn't have
But it wasn't
stayed.
all just about the dogs there, because Dad, you were doing a bit of foraging again.
Oh
We
yes.
did, yeah. I did another bit of forage for the walnuts again.
Yeah.
Got a couple of bits.
Because
couple of bits of
at the
fruit.
bottom of the
We
air,
got
though, the
walnuts
river
from
ran
them.
along at the bottom of the air, and you could hear the boats.
Yeah,
People
you could
having
see,
fun in the
could see
boats.
through the trees, the
The
boats
boats,
going
yeah,
up and down
and that
the
sounded
river.
really nice.
Yeah,
Hear the
quite
splash,
nice.
especially when it was hot. The splashing of the water with the boats, that was nice. Yeah, so we had to leave there. So we knew we wouldn't get as good in the air as that, because that was a good one. What was the next one we went
But we
to?
still went to another good one.
What
It
was that
called
one?
La Bastide d'Armagnac.
Oh yes, that was a big field
That was
one.
the field.
That was
Yeah, that
lovely.
was a
Yeah,
field.
that was lovely. I liked that one too.
We were quite early in arriving there,
Yeah.
and there was only another
3 vans and
3
us.
vans. So we picked a spot. By the end of the day, what did we count?
20 odds anyway,
22.
wasn't it? Yeah. And there was still more arriving after dark even.
It was it's a wide open air on grass and plenty of room. And
And
it was super.
For the first time since we've come away, that was the most Brits we'd seen.
Yeah,
British vans,
yeah,
yeah,
practically every
yeah.
van coming in. So, oh, there's another
Yeah,
Brit. Oh, there's
Yeah.
another Brit.
Up until then, it'd been
Yeah,
an
loads.
occasional British van, but
Yeah.
that was the most Brits we'd seen. The village was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It
we
was-
were able to sit out again, have the awning out. It's great. The centre of the village, when we arrived at that, going up to the centre of the village, it was old buildings, old France. It was lovely, it was beautiful,
Lovely.
their old buildings. Then we got up to the centre, which was a square, a wide open square.
The kind of little shops and stuff.
Shops
There was
all the
little-
way round it,
Yeah.
and with houses above it.
Really old buildings.
But the square itself was empty. There was nothing in the middle of it, and it made it really, really
Really
nice.
special, yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's all
really
cobbles
nice.
and everything, and the old
beautiful.
church. The church was
Yeah.
lovely, and
The church wasn't the centrepiece.
no,
Just the square itself was the centrepiece, but the church
was
was
in
part of it.
Yeah. And it was done in arches. It was all done in arches with
Yeah.
stuff underneath, and it was just it was lovely,
Lovely.
lovely.
And
Nothing.
round about, at the outside of the square, was the old
Yeah.
buildings, old French buildings.
It was
No,
really
not at
nice.
all.
So
Beautiful.
we had to move on from there because again there was no such thing as a supermarket or anything.
So that takes us to yesterday in Sauvignon, which is
Sauvignon was
the
a-
little village with the community centre.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Again, there's a village square, but at one side of the square was the community centre.
Not long built. Everything was quite new built.
Oh, it was
and that.
new,
It was
yeah.
lovely.
There was parts of the centre of the village very new.
And there was seating steps, like if they had shows on, you could sit
Yeah,
on the stone steps. That was really nice, and little lights in the pavement.
So again, we were there quite early. We usually get there quite early to make sure we get a spot. And we got a spot. There was one van in, then we arrived, and another 3
Yeah,
came after us.
4 after us, 1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
But what a
And you
wonderful
were-
life they have in that village.
Well,
Wow,
you were watching
our
the-
eyes opened.
Yeah, you were watching the activities.
Oh, the activities and it seemed to be a kind of yoga class first of all, and all the cars just came. I don't know where, all the outlying areas, I would imagine, and it was all females. There were some males as well, all coming out and running into this class. And before it finished, another load of cars all come in, and there was more people, and there was children going for what would take to be guitar lessons in another part of it, and other children which we thought might be drama classes or something like that. They were going into that door, and then there was like a council meeting going on, people going in with briefcases, and I thought it was such a small village away, miles away from civilization, and so much was going on. And then this morning when we wakened up, there was more going on in the community thing, and there was all those people gathered to go for a walk, a ramble. All the village people going for a ramble. And then when we went for a walk round the village last night, the village itself was just lovely. It was lovely finished, it was so nice. And then we saw all these photographs. Remember all the photographs?
Yeah.
Every place you looked.
Hanging on the lampposts, hanging on the trees.
What size would you say they were? They were really big, weren't they? Like banners.
I think they're probably about 3 feet by 4 feet.
They were big. And there was...
I don't know the conversion in
There was
French
people,
measurements.
there was like old pictures of people maybe in their wedding day. There was pictures of modern day mum, dad and the children. There was pictures of
They were all
families.
black and white. Black and white pictures.
Pictures of families. Pictures of couples. It was everything.
Yeah, and on the two that were on the front of the church
Yeah.
were group pictures
Yeah.
from way back, quite a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark pointed out that the people that one of them was a wedding, a group wedding picture, and the other one looked like a funeral. But the people at the funeral looked happier than the ones at the
At the
wedding.
wedding, yeah. Because the
Very
olden days
strange.
they'd all straight
Yeah.
faces, didn't they, in the photos? But then there was a group photograph on the hall itself, which we think was all the village people.
Yeah.
They were all.
Yeah,
it
we
was a
sort of
group
worked out
picture
that
of
the
that.
pictures were there because there was a centenary of the village.
And the town hall was only finished this summer, wasn't it? Was it
Yes.
July?
So it
So
might
it was
have
all
been,
brand new.
It might
and
have
it was
been
all
for that
lovely.
that they got all these.
All these
pictures
things done,
together.
Yeah. So that was us. We left here this morning with the Ramblers. That's about us then. That brings us up to date with today, which we did a
yes.
spot of travelling
Yeah,
today.
yesterday we went into the Pyrenees Atlantic department, and now we're up in the foothills in Arette. This is another lovely village.
Beautiful village, it's lovely. It's not what they do to it even, they just keep it nice, don't they? I mean, they keep things nice and
Yeah, you think all these villages have had a wee bit of money spent on them.
they've had money spent on them, but
all
they've
the-
done it
All
nicely.
the houses, all the private stuff is really nicely
Yeah.
done as well.
It's not been cheaply done.
Like some
Everything's
departments we've been in.
yeah. It's not cheap, it's nice the way they've done stuff, it's really nice. And we found a walnut tree. So we've got another load of walnuts. We were out there foraging, although we had to maybe fight off a wee bit competition for them.
There was some competition
Oh
in the foraging.
yes, there was a woman with a large bag of them full, and then you saw another man.
Well,
didn't
the
you?
man drew up and he donned his welly boots because it rained a bit. So he donned his welly boots and he had 3 bucketfuls. By the time he finished,
You know how much
he was there
walnuts
for
cost?
ages. And he
He's-
filled 3 buckets.
And she had already filled a full bag.
She filled a bag, a carrier bag, yeah.
She filled a full bag
But
of them.
we just modestly took a few.
We filled a bowl.
Well, we filled a
We
bowl.
filled a bowl, yeah. I think we maybe got about 30.
But then look what that would cost us. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
I
not
know.
child. And the thing about it is they're very expensive in France as well. You think
€6
when they're,
a kilo in the supermarkets
Yeah.
just now.
you think when they're lying about the roads like that they would be cheap here, but they're not. No wonder they all forage for them.
Well, they did their foraging. We did it a wee bit.
Yeah,
There was somebody else got some.
Yeah.
One of the other vans.
on the other vans that came in, the first thing they did was look
they
for them.
they took a few, and I'll bet there's still loads left.
Yeah, there will think be loads in the morning because it's a big
There'll be more
whopper of a
falling off
tree.
the trees. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll be out there first.
Yeah, but we're not under the tree, so the vans under the tree will hear them.
Oh, yeah,
Hitting
they'll get it
off.
first. So that's us up to date, I think, Mark. I think
And what are we
that's
doing
us.
tomorrow?
Apparently, we're going over the Pyrenees tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if I sleep tonight, I might make it. Oh dear. 2 years
Nah,
ago,
it'll be
2
okay.
years ago I did it and I thought I'll never, ever, ever do that journey again. And here I am sitting tonight, ready to go. Actually quite excited about it. Got my cardigan ready to go over my face, so I'm all right. So for now, it's goodbye to France, isn't it? Just for now. We'll be back.
We'll be back soon.
Back in a few weeks.